Hello and welcome to Why Accept Membership in Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. My name is Heather Yush, and I serve as the Director of Membership Services at Phi Theta Kappa. And I will go ahead and turn it over to my panelist this evening, who is probably the most interesting guest of the two of us because she's an actual member of Phi Theta Kappa. So I'll mute myself and let's turn it over to my panelist here, Michaela.
Hey guys, my name is Michaela Jetter. I am an alumni of Phi Theta Kappa Georgia Region, Georgia Highlands College. And this is my first time doing this. I'm very excited to hear from all of you and get to know you all a little bit and answer some of your questions and share some of my experiences with Phi Theta Kappa. So thank you.
Thank you so very much, Michaela. And I was just asking if everyone can make sure they can see my PowerPoint presentation here this evening. If you're joining us from phone and you cannot see it, it is A-OK. We'll make sure that there's a recording available, and I'm going to go ahead and type in the chat box exactly where you can find the recording at a later date, which will not be tonight because it's already pretty late, but we'll get it put up there just as soon as we can. If you go to ptk.org/webinars, you'll find the recording of this webinar from this evening, as well as any of the previous webinars that we've offered. And thank you for confirming you can see the PowerPoint. So if you're calling in, no worries. You can watch the PowerPoint later on if you want to go back and view the slides. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, congratulations, because if you are here joining us, chances are you're either a person who has received an invitation to join Phi Theta Kappa, or maybe you've recently accepted membership and you're just trying to figure this all out. And we are very, very happy, no matter what that situation might be. And we also have alumni and advisors that sometimes join us, and we're very thankful for that as well, because that means you're really invested in your Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society membership, and you really want to make sure you can inspire others. So to all audiences here, thank you for joining us. Make sure you use the chat box to interact with us, because we cannot see or hear you. So I just wanted to make that very clear. If you want to get our attention, you're only going to be able to type and get our attention that way through the chat box or the Q&A box. If you have a great question that might apply to everyone else, please use the Q&A box just so we don't get your question lost in all of the hellos and the greetings in the chat box. We can kind of keep them separated and make sure that we get to attend to your question. This is meant to be pretty informal, so if you do have a question, don't be shy. Just type it in the Q&A box and we will definitely get to your question in the next 45 minutes or so. Okay, let's jump right in. Our mission, who are we? So some of you received a mysterious type letter wondering maybe why you received this letter, who is it really from, what is this organization about? At Phi Theta Kappa, our mission has really remained the same, and we are very excited. We actually just celebrated our Founders Day yesterday on November 19th, and our society turned 99 years old. So we've been around for a very long time, and one of the coolest things to me about our organization is our mission hasn't really changed. So all those years, all 99 of them, we have been serving and supporting college students. Specifically, our mission has remained to recognize the achievements of our college students, but also to provide opportunities to grow as scholars and leaders. So it's not just about giving you recognition on the way out at the end of your college career and patting you on the back, but we are actually very early in your college career going to recognize you, give you this opportunity to join Phi Theta Kappa, and with that, provide transformative experiences so you can become a scholar and leader in your college and in your community. Michaela, I think I want to hear from you now, because this mission statement, you know, it means a lot to me, but I work for Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, and I get to think about this and serve students every single day. But as a student who actually received a membership invitation and decided to join, can you tell us a little bit about what resonated about the mission and why you decided to accept membership in Phi Theta Kappa?
The biggest thing for me was the opportunity to grow as a scholar and a leader. When I started at my school, before I joined Phi Theta Kappa, I was very interested in getting the opportunity to get more involved on campus, and especially reaching out to organizations that would allow me to explore what I wanted to do as far as being a future leader. So when I first found out about Phi Theta Kappa, I was a little bit skeptical, and I approached one of the advisors, and she started talking to me a little bit about some of the opportunities as far as what I wanted to focus on was being able to speak to groups, public speaking, and using my knowledge that I would gain further on to be able to present to students like yourself who are interested in becoming part of Phi Theta Kappa or already in Phi Theta Kappa. So for me, the biggest thing that resonated was learning how, and a lot of the times when especially for me as a student, when I think about being recognized for my achievement, it's something that I've already done, or I believe that being a leader was something that you were kind of born to do. So Phi Theta Kappa sort of changed that impression for me, and that's one of the biggest things that I try to portray to students, is that you may not see yourself as a leader. I did not see myself as a leader. I did not see myself as doing something like this, about sharing with students such as yourself in a year or 2 years, but that was one thing that I was seriously able to work on, was growing as a leader, being able to talk to others, and growing myself, as a scholar, but both as a leader and a scholar, but learning how to give back, learning how to teach others how to see themselves as a leader, to take the opportunities and the initiatives to seek out being a leader. So that was one of the biggest things for me that resonated with their mission statement.
Thank you so much, Michaela. And I really can identify with what she's saying as far as getting opportunities like this. I'm quite a bit older than all of you, I'm sure, that are listening and watching, or maybe not, but probably so, a majority of you. And I can think back to my first couple of years of college, and I would never have felt very comfortable doing a presentation like this. So I'm very happy to be able to provide opportunities like this through our mission of Phi Theta Kappa. And that's why we're all here, really, to move the mission of the organization forward and reach as many students as possible. So if you're one of those deserving members or deserving students out there that are thinking about joining, I really hope that the mission statement will someday mean as much to you as it means to myself and Michaela. Also, I wanted to share some information on who we are, because we often get asked, is this for a certain major, or what kind of student should I be to accept membership? So it's kind of helpful to build this little profile to show you what types of students we typically serve and attract. And at the center, you'll notice that we have a graduate who has a nice stole on and some regalia. And we want to make sure that that is front and center, that our students complete oftentimes not just their associate degree, but their bachelor's and their master's and so on. So we're very proud of our students for their academic accomplishments and for having that trajectory of success. And we are at the level of a 91% completion or transfer rate. So let me quickly explain what that means, because if you're wondering, is this really worthwhile? Is this investment going to do anything for me? 91% of our students complete or transfer. And so that's compared to a national average of about 40%, 40. So we are definitely a step a bit above, or a cut above, in terms of the peers that you're going to school with every day that are not accepting membership. They may not be on that same path to success. And I think throughout this presentation, you're going to hear some of the programming and opportunities that we provide that really can give you an opportunity to succeed by completing your degree, by transferring successfully, by going into the workforce, just really persisting and engaging in your college experience. Our members are very active, and I think you'll see that as well as when you start going to your meetings and becoming part of your local chapter. These are not the passive students that are sitting in the back of the classroom at the colleges that you all attend. These are the students that are front and center, and they're the movers and shakers that are making things happen on campus. So the top majors, this is not for a specific major, so I want to make that very clear. Sometimes there's misconceptions about that. We are an honor society that serves any type of student seeking any type of major, as long as you're attending a college that offers an associate degree track. That is why you're receiving an invitation from Phi Theta Kappa. Additionally, we are located everywhere. So we're in all 50 states. We're in 9 nations at present. And so we really are an international honor society. And we'll go through the eligibility criteria on the next slide. So I'll kind of drill down and get more specific about why you received an invitation or how you became a member of Phi Theta Kappa. But I do want to ask Michaela a little bit about your experiences, and can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what division of Phi Theta Kappa you belong to and what region?
Before I do that, we do have one question. This is, what if you were only taking specific courses but are not moving towards an undergraduate degree because she already has one?
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. And it looks like that question came up in the chat box, so I appreciate you stopping me. It's a little easier to see sometimes in that Q&A box because it flashes and gets my attention. So I do apologize. I wanted to make sure to answer that. As far as your specific courses, you do not have to be moving toward a degree. So you're receiving this invitation because you have met the GPA threshold established by the chapter at your local college, and you also have the correct amount of credit hours, which typically is 12 or more credit hours. So don't feel like you have to be on a track to complete, especially if you've already completed a degree in the past. Whether you're planning to transfer or not transfer, maybe you're going straight into the workforce, maybe you're getting a certificate and only going to surpass 30 credit hours before you leave your college. That is all fine and well. If you've received an invitation, it's because you're eligible and we want you to accept your membership. So that's a great point. We're not only for transfer students, we're for any student who is enrolled at a school that's offering associate degrees. You don't have to be pursuing one, but your school has to offer that and be accredited. We can certainly talk about fee, the application fee, the membership fee. I saw this pop up just now. Are there options for help with the fee to join? And we do actually have a fund called the Golden Opportunity Scholarship Fund. And this was recently established within the past year. And we are committed to making sure that the membership fee is not an obstacle or a barrier to access to the organization. We only have a limited number of the resources that I'm referring to as Golden Opportunity Scholarships. But I assure you that if you were to contact headquarters, and I'll provide the contact information in a moment when I mute myself so I can type, I will provide you with my contact information. If you contact headquarters and can discuss your situation and show that you have demonstrate that you have financial need, we can talk to you about the pathways that you can pursue to seek out a membership fee waiver. And sometimes those are at the local chapter level, so we want to get you in touch with the right person on your campus who can hopefully make some connections for you and get the resources that you need. But thank you for that question. We do not want a membership fee to be a barrier to access. So we have resources we can definitely discuss and give you the very best advice. So let me go ahead and mute myself. I'll type in my information so that you have it. That was a great question. Anyone that wants to take down my information, feel free. And I'll turn it over to Michaela to talk a little bit about her region and her experience in Georgia. Thank you.
Hey guys, I am from the Division II of Phi Theta Kappa. As you can see, there are a few different states who are in different divisions. However, I do want to first say that even though they are broken up into divisions, everybody is very much a family. We are all very much willing to help the other chapters from different states, from different divisions. Some of my best friends that I met through Phi Theta Kappa are in different divisions as well. So just because they are broken up, there is a reason for that. But like I said, we are all one gigantic family, and we may be, chapters may be different, and there may be different experiences, there may be different people, there may be different events in each of these divisions, in each chapters, but we all work to help each other out. So that's one thing I would like to say. Like Ms. Yosh was saying, I am from Georgia, Division II, and one of the biggest experiences that I had for my division when I first joined Phi Theta Kappa, I actually had the opportunity to travel with my chapter to Division IV in New Mexico for one of the events that you will learn a little bit more about as you pursue your growth through Phi Theta Kappa. And it was one of the best things that I had ever done. It was my first experience with Phi Theta Kappa. It's called the Honors Institute, and it's kind of like a boot camp for Phi Theta Kappa. And as far as my division goes, I was able to go with about 40, I think it was about four or five other students from my division. And that was one opportunity that I was able to grow, learn a little bit more about the chapters in my division, learn a little bit more about my opportunities, moving into being an officer for my region, being a chapter leader for my region, as well as getting to know a little bit more about the chapters and how how their experiences through Phi Theta Kappa and what I could offer for them and what they could offer for me through Phi Theta Kappa. So as far as the divisions go, I do love my division, but like I said, everybody is one gigantic family. So don't feel like just because you're, you may be in the state of Georgia or wherever you are, each one of these chapters, anybody in any one of these states is more than willing to help you.
Thank you so much, Michaela, for pointing that out. And the divisions are certainly just a way for us to make sure we're serving and supporting every member and every advisor out there. And we do have a lot of pride within certain divisions and regions of Phi Theta Kappa, so it gets a little competitive because there are a lot of awards on the line as well, which is exciting. So we do compete a little bit, but we also have a fair and healthy amount of fellowship and service. In fact, our 4 hallmarks of the society, which are really those ideals that we aspire to achieve in all we do, would be scholarship, leadership, service, and fellowship. So everything we do in one way, shape, or form is related to those 4 hallmarks, or at least one of them, and sometimes all 4. As Michaela mentioned, we have events like Honors Institute where you get to travel. So of course there's going to be fellowship involved. Service, we learn how to be servant leaders within our communities, and we hear from some tremendous speakers that will talk about those very topics, and really how to engage in civic discourse and really some more of that engaged research type of information that you get that helps you maybe succeed on the graduate school type of level. So civic engagement is certainly an important aspect, but also leadership and scholarship. We're always about finding ways to incorporate students into leadership roles and make sure that we are always rising to the top in whatever group and setting that we find ourselves in as members. So I do want to also address a question that came in. I'm so sorry, I was typing away all of my information, and in the Q&A box, I see a question about what are the requirements to meet after you have been invited. So what requirements are there that you have to meet after the invitation? So if you accept membership in Phi Theta Kappa, you're not required to necessarily do much of anything besides maintain your academic status. So you do have to maintain a GPA, which is called a maintenance GPA, that's set by your local chapter. And should you fall below the maintenance GPA, you'll have a semester to work on your GPA and improve that so that nothing will happen to your membership status or your membership benefits. However, if you are on a local campus and your chapter is requesting for you to attend meetings, I would say go for it. And I think Michaela is probably of the same persuasion, because those meetings are really what help you snowball from one thing to the next, because that's where you're going to find out what's happening on your local campus. And without your chapter advisor, if we have any advisors on here, I want to stop and say thank you for what you do, because it is a very thankless job many times. What you're doing to serve and support students is amazing, and the level of involvement and engagement that you see from these advisors is truly phenomenal. And just having one of these individuals become your mentor is really priceless. So I would say get engaged. You don't have to, it's not mandatory, but we're going to talk a little bit later too about how you can really leverage your Phi Theta Kappa membership to its fullest extent and get the very most out of it. You're going to want to be engaged. So let's save that for a little bit later when I have some better graphics to share with you on that topic as well. So that's our international society. Now, eligibility-wise, let's talk about this, and then I'm going to ask Michaela if she wouldn't mind to share her membership acceptance story, because we all have one about the time when we received this mysterious invitation. But let's talk about this. So if you're wondering, okay, I get it, I'm at a school that offers associate degrees, but again, why did I get this letter? Why did I get it and not someone else? Why did my friends not get it? Somebody that sits next to me in class. So let's talk through this a little bit. You have to be attending an accredited institution that offers associate degrees. We've already covered that one. You have to have earned at least 12 credits of coursework that can be applied. You see the word may be applied to an associate degree. So it's college level coursework. We want to make sure that it could apply to an associate degree program, but you don't necessarily have to be pursuing an associate degree. I want to make that clear. You don't have to finish one. We do want to make sure you have at least a 3.5 GPA, and you see the little asterisks there, because as you saw on the last page, we have 1,300 chapters in all 50 states and 9 nations. We do not provide a script that says you have to have this GPA and this many credit hours. We want the schools to have some autonomy here. So each of those 1,300 institutions, each decided to charter a chapter. With the help and support of Phi Theta Kappa headquarters, we made that happen. But that chapter really belongs to your school, just like student government or any other organization or body on your campus belongs to your school. So does the Phi Theta Kappa chapter. We don't want to be so prescriptive that we're not serving the people that actually attend your campus. So we let your administrators have some determination in what your eligibility criteria are. That's all scripted out in a set of bylaws. You have a chapter advisor who is a local faculty or staff member on your campus. So as much as I would love to serve as your advisor, I am not your Phi Theta Kappa advisor. There's actually a staff or faculty member that is on your local campus that has the title Phi Theta Kappa chapter advisor. And if you want to find that information very easily, I'm going to put it in the chat box right now while I'm talking. Uh-oh, my slide disappeared. Sorry about that. www.ptk.org/advisor search. That is how you can quickly and easily locate the name, phone number, email for your local chapter advisor. And this person is really going to be helpful and instrumental in jumpstarting your membership in Phi Theta Kappa. So, did you receive an invitation to accept membership from the local chapter? Yes, in some way, shape, or form, either through partnership with Phi Theta Kappa or coming straight from your local campus, you received an invitation, and we have all types of resources to serve and support our advisors in making sure that an invitation gets to you, either via email or letter, or sometimes a combination of both things, depending on the chapter that you're at. So I'll turn it over to Michaela. I'm not sure if you got a letter or an email or what your local chapter did as far as the process of invitation, but somehow, some way you received a letter. And I'm curious to know, did you accept the first time that you received that letter or that invitation?
The first time I got a invitation, it was actually by mail. And I opened it, I read it, I was like, this is, a scam. They're talking about all this money for scholarships and it's only $80. And I actually threw it away. It wasn't until the next semester where I had gotten another letter and I was like, you know what, this is the second time, maybe I should look into this a little bit. And I'd forgotten about it, went to the wayside, midterms rolled around, and I actually, through luck, I received an email as well, but I was actually in the class of one of the lead advisors for the chapter on my campus. So she made it a point every semester to talk about Phi Theta Kappa, and suddenly it clicked. I was like, oh, hey, I saw her name on this letter, on this email twice. Maybe I should talk to her about it. So I approached her, and that is how my journey with Phi Theta Kappa started. She was so excited to meet a student who, one, had thrown the letter away, because we're always looking for ways that students tell us that the invitations work. So whether it be through email, whether it be through letters, what is the best way for us to approach you to offer you this tremendous opportunity. So the feedback is amazing, and that's one of the first things she was excited about was, oh my goodness, somebody has actually read the letter, and I actually had it with me and I was able to present it to her. So that was my story as far as acceptance. But it's not a scam, it's an amazing opportunity. But one thing that she made sure that I understood was I have to make the best of what I'm presented. You're being invited into Phi Theta Kappa. It's a tremendous honor, but what you get out of it is what you put into it. So going back to what are the requirements a little bit about after you've joined, if you want to join and you want to take advantage of every opportunity, going to meetings, attending some of these webinars like this, getting more information, reaching out to other chapters, going to some of the events and everything else like that, that's one of the best parts about Phi Theta Kappa. So for me, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I'm just going to join and then I can apply for these scholarships and that's going to be it. That's the extent of it. It's not. There is so much more to it. And I learned that very quickly, and I'm still learning things about Phi Theta Kappa, and I've been involved for almost 2.5 years now. So.
Sorry about that. I was awkwardly pausing, but I was having a great conversation on the chat box. So if anyone wants to ask questions, we can also kind of privately interact with you through the chat. So feel free to direct a question to just the panelists if you want to ask a question. We're happy to answer, and we don't want anybody to feel shy or feel like the question is too small or insignificant. But thank you, Michaela, for sharing. I'm so glad you accepted membership, because as you can see on the back of Michaela's wall, she has become Phi Theta Kappa member extraordinaire, and I was very shocked and surprised to learn all of that, but just a couple of things up on that wall have to do with Phi Theta Kappa, and as you heard, she's only been involved in 2.5 years. So that level of accomplishment is really tremendous. And we have another great question here. While we were talking, I think it stirred up some other thoughts and curiosities about scholarships. And the question is a great one, and I want to read it out loud just in case anybody's calling in from a phone or not looking at a device right now. Can scholarships from Phi Theta Kappa be used for paying tuition at private colleges or universities? The answer to that is yes, because we have access, for our members, we have access to opportunities for up to $90 million in scholarships. And that is a fall application that we run on the Phi Theta Kappa website, as well as a spring application that we also run on the Phi Theta Kappa website, as well as there are over 775 four-year colleges or universities, a healthy mix of public and private, so not any one type of college. But there's over 775 out there that offer some sort of exclusive PTK scholarship. So just to be clear, if you get a scholarship from a certain university or college that offers a scholarship, they're likely going to apply that money that you are winning for being a member to your bill, to your fee bill, so that you'll pay for your tuition that way. If you are lucky enough to receive a scholarship that Phi Theta Kappa offers through our fall or spring scholarship application, that money is actually going directly to you as a student. And you're obligated to enroll at a four-year college, but it can be a college of your choice, private, public, wherever you want to go. And as long as you can show that you're enrolled and planning to go on for your transfer, for your bachelor's, then that money will be sent directly to you. So you get to decide how to use that for your educational expenses. You might be fortunate enough to get both. You could get a Phi Theta Kappa scholarship from our application that we put online in the fall and the spring. And you could find a transfer institution that has their own little set of money or their own little pool of money, and they may be able to dig in and give you some more money for your Phi Theta Kappa scholarship or for your Phi Theta Kappa membership. So that would be truly exciting when you get to start stacking those scholarships. And Michaela actually has some experience with the scholarship application, and I see some great questions coming in about, are there fees for the scholarship application? So Michaela, if you can talk to us just about your personal experience with how you applied and what happened. Did you have to pay a fee to apply? That type of thing. I think that would truly be helpful.
Applying for the Phi Theta Kappa scholarships, there was no fees. Once you pay not the application fee, but the joining fee, you are, one, a member for life, and two, when you apply for these scholarships within Phi Theta Kappa, like I said, there are no fees. So for me, when I first applied, I was about a month after I joined Phi Theta Kappa, and my advisor was like, look, the spring application is open. It's only going to be open for a few more days, and I would really like you to apply for this. It may be a little bit of a struggle for you to get it in, but do it anyway. We'll get you your recommendations and you can get it, filled out. As far as the application process goes for scholarships, like I said before, what you put into something is what you're going to get out of it. So if you really sit down and take the time to read the questions, answer the questions, there are a couple of short answer responses that you'll have to provide information on. Those are usually what stump a lot of people. But after doing it so often, and if you've applied for scholarships before, you understand, just save these applications, save whatever you've applied for in the past, and that's what's really going to help you. But as far as applying, my first month, I applied for the associate level scholarships, and I was actually awarded the Coca-Cola Leaders of Promise, which was $1,000 scholarships, which saved me for my next semester because I am a working student who is paying out of pocket for school, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to afford my next semester, and that covered me. So that saved my life to be able to continue on with my education and continue on with my degrees as far as the scholarship goes. The next few semesters, I wasn't eligible for the fall because I hadn't quite reached the credit hour requirements for it, but the semester before I graduated, I was able to apply, and I was actually one of the Phi Theta Kappa, but one of the Coca-Cola Gold Scholars, which is a $1,500 scholarship, which they award to 50 students. They do gold, silver, and bronze, and that was a big deal for me. Like I said, I'm a working student, so figuring out how I'm going to pay for my next semester each semester is always a concern, and especially for a lot of you who are interested in applying for scholarships, that's one thing is I always heard, well, there's so many people applying for it, you're never going to win. And one thing I was actually told at one of the conferences I attended was that a lot of students apply for the scholarship, they start it. About half of those who actually start it get close to finishing it, and even if they finished it, some people don't even submit it. So when you think about it, we may have all of these students and you may see all of these people who are applying for things, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've completed it. It doesn't necessarily mean they've gone through and taken every step and taken every effort to make sure they've completed and actually submitting it. And that's the most important part, is submitting your application. So for me, when I did that, not only was I one of the Coca-Cola Gold Scholars, that opened an opportunity for me to actually say, hey, this is what I've done with Phi Theta Kappa. This is a scholarship I was given through Phi Theta Kappa as a transfer student. What can you do for me? And so some of what I was able to get done was when I was applying for transfer when I was applying to transfer to other schools, I got application fee waived. One of the private institutions, somebody asked about private institutions, was actually, the scholarship was awarded to you as a student. So you are able to use it as you see fit. For me, mine, like I said, went to school, but you are able to use it at any institution that you want to attend or you're considering attending, because these scholarships are actually awarded to you. And I actually have, some people like shiny bling, but this is something that Coca-Cola awards to you. It's the gold medal from Coca-Cola. It actually says it on there, and they give you a little specialty bottle of Coke, which I found very interesting that I still have. As well as through the fall application, you are able to be accepted into something called the All Academic Team, All USA Academic Team. And for me, I was awarded one of the spots for Georgia. So that is also one of the shiny blings that I got as well for that. So that's a little bit of my story. As far as scholarship goes, through Phi Theta Kappa, I've actually applied for other scholarships outside and used my experience and expertise. As one being a leader, my experiences with filling out scholarship applications, and in the running right now to get a full tuition scholarship through being a STEM major. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you all, but that's something that I was able to do and something I was confident enough to apply for because of the experiences that I had through Phi Theta Kappa.
Outstanding. That is awesome, Michaela. I didn't know all of that good news was coming your way. So congratulations on that. That's very exciting. And this story that Michaela, I really didn't know all of that about her. I just met her actually, well, we met a while back, but we reconvened at the Georgia Regional Conference over the past weekend, this past weekend. And so I'm very much interested in learning about all of our students and their stories, some pretty incredible journeys that we have through Phi Theta Kappa. And I also wanted to make sure in the chat box I just posted publicly for everyone to see. We had a question coming in about recommendation letters. And yes, our December 1st deadline is fast approaching, but the fall scholarship application only requires 2 letters of recommendation, which, hopefully someone on your campus knows you quite well, probably a teacher or a mentor, an advisor of some kind that could attest to your academics. And then you also need a letter of recommendation from someone that can really strongly attest to your leadership skills. And that could be someone in the community or a coach, if you're an athlete, for example. Just someone, maybe in the world of work. Do you have a job, an employer that could attest to your leadership abilities at work? So these are really pretty typical for any type of scholarship, because we want to make sure that if you're receiving an award, you're truly deserving, that you're standing out among everyone else. And just that very skill set, like Michaela said, of being active and being able to tell your story through Phi Theta Kappa, that's going to really take you places. You can see where it's already taken Michaela in a pretty short time. So we hear these types of stories all the time about the students that rose to the top in the scholarship pool, and then they go on to have they lead a really successful life and have a trajectory for success. So I'm very, very excited that all of you are interested in learning about these opportunities. We also have a good question coming in about, if you're living in a different city than your school, would you need to register in a school in your city to benefit from this opportunity? Would I have the same invitation if I applied to a different school? If you're talking about the school that is issuing your membership invitation, then you can, if you go from one college that offers associates to the other college that offers associates, you can transfer your membership. I'm not quite sure if you're asking about the school that you registered for your 4-year. And I'll answer by text here in a minute as to what I think the answer is to your question, but feel free to ask in a different way if I type back to you and you don't see the answer you're looking for, please. I want to make sure we get your ideas conveyed here properly. And also about meeting suggestions for Phi Theta Kappa chapters. And we have over 500 members, but not many showing up for meetings, nor are they very active and want to really reach out to students. I want to interest students, but not sure how. This is a very great question about chapter development, and I happen to know, actually we just took a look at that for not accepting membership. Maybe some of these members are asking about they don't have a lot of time, they don't really want to transfer, so they don't think Phi Theta Kappa is for them, or they've never heard of it. So let's actually flip ahead to the next slide, And I'm going to ask Michaela, from your standpoint as a former chapter and regional officer, do you have any advice for a chapter that may have a lot of members but may not be super active in terms of how to engage those members in the meeting?
Yes, actually, you're using one of the main resources that I found out about, which is Zoom. A lot of schools will offer things like Blackboard, and I know a lot of chapters who have used Skype and everything else like that. But this is the main source that I found that worked for my campus. For me, we had 5 campuses for one chapter. So we were very much a commuting school, which you find with a lot of the 2-year institutions. A lot of the students, they're commuting. There were many times where I was leading meetings and I was on the road, conferenced in on the phone, or I was at work and I was taking my lunch break and I was on my phone. But Zoom is probably one of the best resources that I say you could actually use. And not just having a resource, but actually letting students know about the resource that is available to them and the easiest way for them to go about it. So for us, when we first started using it, we promoted it very much on social media through our Facebook. We had flyers letting students know about the times and the options that they had. They could, join us on campus. They could join us through a conference call. There were some times where I had, 1 or 2 students that were on my phone who couldn't get the Zoom application to work on, their cell phone via, different types of technology and everything else like that. So giving them more than one option as far as just being on campus is probably the biggest thing. And the opportunity to not only call in, but video in, as well as some of you are on your cell phones, you just have a number that you could call. For us, I had actually set up one account, so it was one phone number for each meeting every single time, so people didn't get confused about which link they were supposed to be doing or using to actually join the meetings. If you have some sort of, we had a student life organization, so we had a coordinator that I would email every time we were about to have a meeting and have him send it out to the entire school. Even if they weren't in Phi Theta Kappa, it was going to the entire school, so that would interest new members, as well as, hey, this is coming from the official school. It's not just from, some random person that I've never heard of before sending me an email saying they're going to have a meeting about something that I don't know about. So when it comes from the official school and somebody that they know, a point person who's actually involved with the school, you're more likely to get involvement. And for us, it took a few meetings for us to see a little bit more, but we started having, at first it was just the officers who usually attended meetings along with the advisors, and then we'd have 1 or 2 students. And then even if you don't use Zoom, we had Zoom, we used Collaborate, we had Skype. There were several different options that we gave students to see what would be the best thing for them. So that's my suggestion from a personal standpoint. And from a regional level, I use things like GroupMe as well to keep people involved. I just kept adding students who were very interested. They said they weren't getting emails, or they may not be on campus, or they may not be in the area on campus to see flyers. They were able to contact me through there as well. So that's my suggestion that I saw work, especially since we had so many students across so many different campuses.
That's great advice, and I definitely encourage everyone to check out Zoom. If you are feeling like this is your first time on a webinar, it's probably not going to be your last, because I know that a year ago or so we weren't really using this technology either, and things have just moved in this direction of video conferencing. So it will do yourself a favor and get to use Zoom, because if you ever get a chance to work at a telecommuter type of position, or you're wanting to possibly have a flexible work schedule, this is the type of skill set that's going to be necessary for all of us moving forward. So it's a great platform and connects people no matter how far you are geographically. And Zoom allows you to connect. I just typed in the Q&A box with the chat box with a very dated reference to the Brady Bunch. But the reason I mention that is because if you use Zoom, you'll have a meeting platform, and your pictures will pop up in little tiles. So you'll see a whole screen full of faces, and you'll be able to talk and share your screen, and you'll all be able to hear and see each other. It's a little different. This is the Zoom webinar platform, which is more like a classroom. So it's more about presenting to you, and you're not able to share your screen. We're not able to see your faces as much as we want to. There are some limitations to this particular account for the Zoom webinar. So there are differences there, but Zoom meeting is free. You can take advantage of it and host your meetings and record them and share them. That will take your chapter to the next level if you can get on board with this, just because people are so busy. Plus you have commuters, you have online students, you have dual enrolled students who may be in the high school still. So, as the world is getting more complex with higher education, I think you're well suited to set your chapter up for success by using some of these video conferencing platforms for sure. I had a great question come in as well on the Q&A box. I'm sorry, while we're talking about how to engage your chapter. Also clarification, it was more of a clarification about that earlier question. So if you are receiving invitation from your local chapter, I want to be clear, you would have an individual passcode and you should be able to accept membership on ptk.org/accept membership. So when you go to this website, it's going to ask you to plug in your individual passcode or your email address, and that's how you're going to be able to accept membership. So you can actually pay the online membership fee online, just like you're checking out or shopping at a store. You'll be able to pay for your membership, and that will cue us at headquarters to let us know you've officially accepted your membership and that you want to receive your certificate and your golden key pin, a lapel pin that you'll be able to wear to signify or symbolize your membership. So we'll get that sent out in the mail, and that comes directly to you. So that process is called the membership acceptance process. And then what we were talking about earlier, I think I confused some people, was about the scholarships application. So if you want to become an engaged member and put yourself in the running to receive a scholarship to help you pay for your education, then you would want to accept your Phi Theta Kappa membership, so you have a membership number, a membership ID number and certificate. Then you would go to ptk.org/scholarships, and that's where you would apply for a scholarship to help you with your associate degree or with your bachelor's degree. Those were the awards that Kayla was showing off, her shiny medals, those medallions. That's for winning scholarships. And if you are able to get those letters of recommendation together before December 1st, you actually still have time to apply for the $500,000 of scholarships we have available for students who are planning to transfer in fall 2018. So if you're not transferring in fall 2018, don't be discouraged. You should still accept membership now, because we're going to launch our spring application in March. That application is for you. If you're going to be continuing your associate degree, you definitely want to get on that application, because we also have over $250,000 in scholarships just set aside to help students like you that want to finish their associate degree. So I hope I made that clear. I'm sorry for any confusion. The acceptance process is about becoming a member, and then once you're a member, you'll have access to these exclusive scholarship opportunities that other people that are not members will not have the same chances to receive these awards. I hope I articulated that properly. Will there be another membership nomination again? There was one student. Okay, so if you have students that are in need of help with their membership fee, that Golden Opportunity Scholarship Program I referred to earlier is by nomination only. And we allow each chapter advisor, each semester we open up a cycle, kind of like scholarships. Each semester we open up a month period where we have opportunities to take nominations from advisors, and they can select 3 students that have indicated or demonstrated financial need, and they can submit those names directly to headquarters. But we do hope that our local chapters are finding student support offices on campus, or perhaps a foundation office that's associated with your campus. There are so many resources that you can leverage as a chapter advisor, or even as a chapter officer, or just a member. If you're really invested in helping other students afford membership, there are probably others on your campus, other faculty, other staff that are serving and supporting students that would be willing to help you set up a fund and find ways to make that possible for students. Because ultimately we know the investment, it's going to pay off. It's not going to pay off just for the student in terms of their success, but also for the school in general, because we're going to have students on your campus that are persisting and engaging and staying enrolled because they might just need that extra support, that extra network, somebody believing in them and showing that they are validated as a scholar, and that goes a really long way in your development as students. And Michaela showed you some of her medals, but we also give out medallions, as you can see in the picture. These are the international officers of Phi Theta Kappa, and those medallions are totally separate from scholarships. Those actually represent the fact that they are at the pinnacle of student leadership in the society. So not only can you be a chapter officer and regional officer, you can also take it to the next level and be what we call an international officer. These 5 people represent the international president position, and then we have 4 international vice presidents representing each of the 4 divisions of Phi Theta Kappa. So each of these people, as you can see, there's quite a bit of diversity in terms of age and ethnicity and actually academic major. I happen to know each of these students and what they're pursuing in school. So there is, just so many differences between them and where they come from. And we even have an international student on our panel of 5 international officers this year. So I hope this is encouraging if you're able to see this picture, just to see that we really work for younger students, we're for non-traditional students, we're for online. We are really here to serve and support any of you who are receiving an invitation. And I would just be thrilled to think that any of you might go on and get into this level of engagement to do some of the things that Michaela has achieved, or even some of our international officers have achieved. So I hope that answers your questions about getting engaged, why you should get engaged. These scholarships, as Michaela said, they're competitive, so you're going to have to tell a compelling story, and you're going, that's not going to be something you can just make up. So you need to have some evidence, some proof that you're truly engaged and committed, and show you took initiative. Your employers want to hear this. Your transfer admissions counselors, once you go on to your 4-year or to your master's, it only gets more and more competitive. And we all know that, that's the society we're in. So you need to be prepared to tell a compelling story, talk about how you took initiative, you took a leap of faith to join, and now here you are making decisions about, should I run for chapter officer? Should I be a regional officer? Should I go to this event? Should I go on this trip or to this conference? These aren't things you have to do. They're not mandatory. Nobody's telling you to do this. But if you do them, think about the incredible story you're going to have, and you're going to be able to really tell a compelling story on your scholarship application. Great questions. Let me go ahead and slide over one more. And Michaela, you're the more interesting panelist here, as I told everyone in the beginning. So I'm going to mute myself and go over to the Q&A box and check things out. And if you wouldn't mind, there's a list of involvement activities here, and I would love to hear what jumps out at you when we have all of these participants that are joining us tonight and they accept their membership, which I hope they all do. What are the can't miss opportunities that these individuals will need to take advantage of?
Okay, I would say the first one is the induction ceremony, and that for me was a special time because not only was I able to, it became a reality that I was a part of something bigger than just myself, and being a student, going to school, going to work, and going home. It was a validation. It was a tangible pat on the back, I guess you could say, is I'm now a part of something. So for the induction ceremony, not only do you get to kind of be initiated into Phi Theta Kappa, but you get to share that experience as well with your family members. For my parents, it was a very special opportunity for them, especially they had never attended college before. So for me to be inducted into something as grand as Phi Theta Kappa, it was, a great experience for them, being able to see it because they weren't able to experience that for themselves when they were trying to go to school. So that is the biggest thing I would say. A lot of students, they tend to skip the induction ceremony, but I would say that's the very first step into accepting your membership, because not only do you, like I said, you kind of get a pat on the back, especially from, the officers, the advisors, but you get to meet the school administration. You get to meet other students who are part of the same chapter you are, who are on the same journey you are. And that's their first step to kind of changing yourself a little bit, stepping out of the comfort zone. For me, I was a very introverted person. So when I first went, I was like, okay, I really don't know what's going on. I'm lighting a candle, I'm shaking hands, I'm getting a rose. Okay, this is cool, but what's next? So after the induction ceremony, I was able to stand there and talk to some of the officers and, the alumni and the advisors, and kind of get a feel about what was the next step for me in Phi Theta Kappa. Okay, I've been inducted, so what now? And that leads me into the chapter meetings and workshops. So those are extremely important. And a lot of people, when I hear them talking about meetings and going to these workshops and everything that the chapter may be hosting, it's, oh my goodness, this is what I've learned, and I didn't think about that before. So as hosting a meeting, being a part of a meeting, being able to share the information, one, about Phi Theta Kappa, the benefits of Phi Theta Kappa, but bringing new students into what Phi Theta Kappa is about, and pretty much being inducted into a family. And you really start to realize that when you attend the chapter meetings and you start to get involved, you're like, okay, this is not just something that I want to sit with. There's so much more that I could do. There's so many other opportunities for me. You learn a lot more when you actually are able to attend these chapter meetings. And even if you can't, reaching out to whoever hosted it, whoever else was involved, the advisor, and asking for meeting minutes. And, even if you weren't able to be there yourself, still reach out and be like, hey, I wasn't able to be there, but what happened? What's going on? What can I do? The fellowship and service events is another thing that I highly recommend. A lot of transfer students, when you're going to colleges, they look at your community service. When you're on these applications, they will ask you about your community service. What is your involvement? And one thing I highly recommend is don't just do the community service to put it on the application. Actually participate in the event. And one amazing story, and it's kind of a little quirky, that I found for my involvement, especially volunteering, is I went to an entire different county to do some volunteering work. One of my friends, she lives up in Rome, Georgia, which is about an hour and a half away from me. So it was a little bit of a drive. And when we got there, we were wearing our Phi Theta Kappa t-shirts, and we were really pumped to help out. It was a soup kitchen. And the director of the soup kitchen was actually a PTK alumni. So when we got there, he's like, hey, I know who you guys are. And so it was a really interesting experience, and it made it 10 times more worth it to be there and be in the presence of another Phi Theta Kappa member and be able to assist in what he had created, what he had started. And part of what we brought back that I was able to write in my scholarship application is that not only did I invest my time in this actual event, in this service event, I was able to branch out, and I was able to meet somebody else who was in Phi Theta Kappa, and that was a network for me. So when it came to having a resource for, hey, this is a community service event you participated in, who was your contact there? That was the director. He's, Phi Theta Kappa alumni, and he can attest to what it means to be a Phi Theta Kappa member. So that was an amazing recommendation for me. Another thing is the competitive edge. A lot of students, they start this, and I highly recommend that you complete it. So the 5-star competitive edge is sort of a 5-level opportunity for you to enhance your soft skills as far as interviewing, as far as professionalism, how to speak, your resume, a little bit about research as far as the professional standpoint of it, but it's more a personal development. So what you can do is you can go through, you can complete each step, you can take the quizzes that they have, but if you really want to get something out of it, each step, look at what they're asking you to do, read what they're asking you to do, kind of contemplate what you're actually doing, what you're being a part of, what you're completing, and don't just rush through it. You can rush through it if you like, but like I said, it was an opportunity for me to brush up on my professional skills as far as, especially with interviewing. It was a big one for me because I'm a little bit of a nervous wreck when it comes to interviewing, as we all are when it comes to jobs. And a little bit about that is I was actually interviewing for a promotion at my job a couple of months ago, and my hiring manager happened to be a PTK alumni from the 80s. And so when she saw that on my resume, she was like, oh, hey, this is what I was involved with. Tell me about what you've been doing. What steps have you been taking as a leader? Do you know what this is? And I was able to talk to her a little bit about competitive edge and show some of my leadership experiences through Phi Theta Kappa. And she actually understood what I was speaking about. So it was very, it kind of hit home for me being able to get an opportunity like this outside of Phi Theta Kappa, because I hear a lot about the opportunities and, the resources and the networking, but actually being a part of that and experiencing that and being able to talk about some of the things that I have completed and not just kind of blown through to complete it was an amazing opportunity. So those are a couple of the highlights that I would say, but also the very last one is serving as a chapter officer. So that's the ultimate, I guess you could say, that's the ultimate test of pushing yourself past your limits. When I became a member, a month later I was inducted as a VP. A year later I became chapter president. And then at one of our regional events, my advisor was like, I really want you to run for regional president. And I was, and that's something that I did, and I was scared to do it. But I utilized my resources. Heather, I actually met her at one of the international events, and she was able to guide me a little bit on communication within my chapter. And so as far as serving as a chapter officer, it puts you one outside of that comfort zone, but it also it gives you the opportunity to grow more. Not saying you can't do that as a member, because you can, but taking that initiative to be a leader, to say, this is something that I want to pursue, this is something that I want to develop about myself, and moving forward, especially if you're considering running for international, that is the ultimate test of, you know, how much do you want to be a part of PTK? What do you want to get out of it? So.
Thank you, Michaela. And I am just so thrilled that she was able to tie in Competitive Edge and some of these resources that we offer, because even if you're more of a behind the scenes person and you're thinking, okay, there's no way I have time or interest in running for an officer position, you know, that's not for all of us, at least not right now in some of our lives. So there are plenty of things you can do on your own time at the convenience of your own home. Two of the things are listed here on the screen: Competitive Edge and College Fish. These are ways to put yourself out there. You can build a profile and start kind of shopping for scholarships and for transfer locations. It's like a Match.com. You build your own profile, put yourself out there, and see what kind of opportunities are there for members of Phi Theta Kappa, as well as Competitive Edge you can do in the convenience of your own home and really learn professional development skills. And these are the types of resources that we're building, and we want to make sure that if you become a member, you're going to have opportunities and resources no matter what. If you can be on your campus often or not on your campus often, there is going to be something to help you grow into a scholar and leader. And while Michaela was talking, we also had a great question about when should you time up joining Phi Theta Kappa, and will you have the opportunity in the future? So that's tricky. I would not assume that you're always going to have an opportunity to join Phi Theta Kappa. And I can say that even for a 4.0 student who is on a trajectory for success that appears that they'll get another 4.0 and get another invitation the next semester. I've worked with students for almost 10 years now, and from the best of the best students to the most, students that are struggling the most, I can tell you life happens. So you do not know what next semester is going to hold. We would all like to, assume we're going to be enrolled and things are going to be going really well for us. But just with the students that I've worked with for the past 10 years, I would really err on the side of make the most of this opportunity while it's literally in front of you. Because I wouldn't want you to miss out. And if you were to take a semester off or to transfer out or go take a job for a while and get kind of sidetracked with that, you may not come back and have another opportunity to receive an invitation to join. Because once you go off to that 4-year college, our chapters are not there on the campuses when you're taking your junior and senior level classes. That opportunity is there for you as a freshman and sophomore. And so we want to make sure that you're really thinking hard about this and taking this opportunity that you have right now pretty seriously. So I hope that answers your question. I'm not trying to be vague or mysterious about whether or not you're going to get an invitation again, but I really can't predict the future and if you're going to be continuing and persisting at your college. And you might even, what if you move and you go to a college that doesn't have a chapter of Phi Theta Kappa? They're not going to be able to invite you if they don't have a chapter. So think about those things that might come up even unexpectedly and really think about the return on investment. I think I have time for about one more question here. I've been answering a lot of questions about international office and some things on the side, so I want to make sure I plug some of our upcoming webinars here in just a moment. We have another question that I'll go ahead and take about working on requirements to apply for a nursing program at your local community college. And if you accept and become a member right now, do I have to apply for scholarships immediately, or do I have to wait until I'll be on the program? So you can, if you're just now working on prereqs, it sounds like you are a student with less than 36 credit hours. So the spring application, when you go to ptk.org/scholarships, you're going to want to take a peek at those scholarships for students that are going to be completing an associate degree or continuing work toward fulfillment of an associate degree. So those scholarship opportunities will be available for you in the spring. So that is a very good question, and congratulations and good luck on the nursing program. That's going to certainly be challenging, and we're glad that you're looking for the additional challenge of really enhancing your membership or your experience at your college with membership. And so let me go ahead and plug a couple of upcoming events. We had a lot of scholarships questions, If you want to hear more about scholarships from the experts, I'm talking about our scholarship staff. I'm part of the membership staff, so I know quite a bit, but the scholarship staff are really the experts that are building these applications and reviewing all of your applications. They are going to host an event on Wednesday of this week, which is November 22nd at 1 p.m. Central Time. If you'd like to register for that, just go to our Facebook page. It's the quickest, easiest way to do it. Go to PTK, Phi Theta Kappa's official Facebook page. Look at the events tab. So there's always an events tab that tells you what's coming up next. You can register for that webinar very easily and quickly through that events tab. Also, we have another webinar coming up on the topic of running for international office, and I did get some private questions about that opportunity as well, which we would love to see your application come through. So again, check out that events tab. Keep coming back to PTK's official Facebook page. We'll keep you posted of what's going on. We had some people say thank you, and I want to say thank you to all of you, because you are the ones that have taken part of your evening on a holiday week here to just further prove that you're the type of student that really is going to enjoy membership in Phi Theta Kappa. If you're this type of scholar and person that's really looking to improve and enhance yourself personally and professionally to this level, you didn't have to be here. Again, it's a decision you made and you took initiative. So I just want to commend all of you for making time to be with us to learn about something that can really change your life. And I want to go through to the last slide here. Additional benefits. We have corporate partnerships, which provide special offers, discounts on things like insurance. You might be able to get a computer at a discounted rate because of your Phi Theta Kappa membership. So we do offer some very strategic partnerships to benefit students, and we are very thoughtful in our partnerships, so we're making sure what we are providing has value for you as a student in your first couple of years of college. Also, we provide letters of recommendation, so if you have an employer or someone asking you for a letter of recommendation, we would be happy to provide a personalized letter that can mention some of your officer positions in Phi Theta Kappa even, so it's personalized. And then also, Michaela already talked about some of our regional events, and we hope to see you at our 100th, our centennial celebration of our international convention in Kansas City, Missouri, April 19th through the 21st. And that's called PTK Catalyst, our international convention. Pretty unlike anything you've ever been to, and you'll be surrounded by 4,000 members of Phi Theta Kappa. We actually have a very big goal to have this be a 6,000 member and advisor and alumni event. So we're going to try to do it bigger and better in Kansas City this year for our centennial. And of course, I mentioned all of the scholarships that we offer as well. And I see some other great comments here. Thank you so much for wishing us a happy Thanksgiving, and same to you all. We also have my contact information on the screen in front of you if you want to talk to me directly. My name is Heather Yush. You can reach me at my direct line, which is 601-984-3647, or heather.yush@ptk.org. And Michaela, I don't know if you have an email address that you would prefer that we use. If you want to type that in the chat box and say that out loud, we'd love to hear some closing comments from you, and also hear your contact information if you don't mind.
Yes, ma'am. I went ahead and put my personal email in the chat box for you all. Feel free to email me whenever you need help, or if you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them for you. As far as closing comments, really quickly, letters of recommendation, I want to say just a quick little tidbit about that. I find that a lot of students, they'll go to their favorite teachers, they'll go to professors that they may have taken, a bunch of times and they're familiar with them. As far as recommendations, I suggest you talk to those who have seen you push yourself past your comfort zone, who have seen you in the depths of trying to grow yourself and to be a leader. And they may not be the person you think will write you a great letter of recommendation. And I had that experience. But at the end of the day, they've seen what you are, who you are as a student, and where you want to go and what you're willing to do. And that's really what's going to matter when it comes to letters of recommendation. So that's one of my closing comments. If any of you would like to email me, feel free. If I can provide my phone number as well, if that's easier for you all. And you can add me on Facebook as well. Michaela Jetter, I'll go ahead and type that into the chat box as well. But thank you all for joining us, and for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit and grow myself a little bit more. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Michaela, for being here and for taking extra time out of your busy life as a Phi Theta Kappa alumni. And we really value our alumni because of their willingness to give back and also to support and go back to their local chapters and regions. So this is another tremendous contribution that members can make. And I also put a plug to add me on Facebook. You brought up a great point, Michaela. We're all on social media more often than email and phone. So definitely don't hesitate to send us a friend request, and we'll certainly befriend you and hopefully get to meet you face to face or in person at one of these upcoming Phi Theta Kappa events. So with that, I think we're at the end of our night, and we still have participants with us. So thank you all one more time. We are very excited. Congratulations on the invitation. Go accept your membership, make the most of it, get engaged on the local, regional, international level, and I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised and satisfied with your decision. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your academic term. Bye. Thanks again, Michaela. Bye-bye.
Bye.